I'm a street kid from East LA, and when I drove here today, I was very emotional. So I actually started crying, and not just crying, I was bawling. Coming and doing this talk is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Because this city reminds me of the joy and the hurt. Growing up here, you know, I was disruptive. I was angry. I wanted to commit suicide since I was 7 years old. And I hated myself. And it was really tough because I really had nobody to talk to. I felt like I was trapped. No one could understand kind of what I was going through. I didn't do well in school. I couldn't read and write really well. So I struggled, but I was just probably lazy, right? So, you know, going through all of these things and emotions is really painful. And I didn't excel until after I got out of school. You know, fortunately and unfortunately for me, I got kicked out of high school, and I went to continuation school. And when I was there, I turned 16. I went down to a local rim store, and I said, I'd like to, you know, work here. And I was lucky. They hired me. 16 years old, I was a delivery boy making minimum wage, and I was the happiest kid ever. Because now I felt like I could really do something that I was passionate about. I didn't learn how to read by being in school. I learned how to read by reading Lowrider magazine, because that was my passion. So I started to try to read and try to work my way up, and I worked my way up to sales management, and I was like, you know what, I'm really liking this. I tried to figure out how they made money. I tried to figure out how they make rims. I really wanted to know about that business. I started building my career. I started a company in 1999 called Dub Magazine. And right before that, in 1998, I had my daughter, and I went blind totally in my left eye. And I was having severe anxiety, panic attacks, and I went crazy, right? So I had my midlife crisis at 25. So hopefully I don't die when I'm 50, right? I'll knock on some wood later. But, you know, just understanding that we all go through this pain and this suffering, I was able to convince some people to follow me to start a business. And from 99 to 2005, our company grossed over $50 million. I did my first multi-million-dollar deal at age 21, right? But I spent it before I was 22, okay? Then I made my first million at 30, and I spent it by the time I was 31, because I was chasing. I was trying to be somebody that I'm not, right? My wife got mad at me today because she said, you need to dress up. I said, why do I need to be like somebody else? I don't want to be like somebody else. I finally like myself. There's two things that I needed to do. I needed to laugh at myself. I needed to learn how to love myself. And when I was growing up, I wanted to be hard. I wanted to be, you know, stern. I wanted to be tough. But now, I want to be fragile. I want to be vulnerable. But most importantly, I want to be able to move. Because when you're so stern, you're like the big oak tree. And when the winds come, all the roots get ripped out and it gets turned upside down. I want to be like a palm tree. I want to just be flexible. And once I realized that I had to stop being hard and I needed to be flexible, that's when my life changed. Because everybody knows if you're a street kid, you're not flexible, right? You're tough. You know, my mom and dad told me, don't even be smart, just be tough, right? Be tough. Get a 2.0, right? So you can play sports. That's what they told me, you know? And then I realized that, wow, you know, here I am going through all of these business things. The business was accelerating, and Newsweek magazine called me and said, hey, you're voted as one of the top 10 big thinkers for big business in the 21st century. I said, dude, you got the wrong number. Like, we're a small business. We do, like, cars, custom cars with celebrities. It was, no, we're recognizing you for your thinking. When I first started going to General Motors, one of the largest companies in the world, and I dressed just like this too. Be yourself. It's not about what you look like. It's not about where you came from. It's really about what you're doing. When is it too late to be successful? When? You know what? When it's too late? When you're dead. You could be 90 years old and be an entrepreneur. You can't. And for negative people, right? When bad things happen to us, there's only two outcomes. We become bitter or we become better. I was bitter for almost my whole life. Now I'm trying to be better. The only way to achieve is to just do it. You get out there and do it. You don't think I want to stop every time I started to do something? I wanted to stop every day. I wanted to stop before I got here because this is too painful, right? I suppressed my personal feelings about being young and going through all of these things almost my whole life. Now I have to talk about them? Whoa, this is crazy. But part of my kind of coming out and letting people know that I'm vulnerable, it helps. It fills the hole in my heart. So if I could share my story and it can inspire somebody else to share theirs, and if this dumb street kid that went blind could be successful, then I don't think anybody has an excuse. Thank you.